Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the show. We're here today with our Friday review, the Anything Goes show, to recap our week. Make sure you caught all of the previous shows during these past 5 days or so, and also bring you the latest and greatest research. I have two great research studies for you today, one directly related to blood sugar that I want you to be able to check out, and the second one around brain health and concussions. So I'm going to also bring you some product reviews this week. You know, I love bringing you some of the books that I've been reading over the past week, as well as any new products I might be using. So what we're going to do is start this show like we typically do and go over exactly what has been happening in the private practice over the past week or so. There's always so much going on, and I like to bring you one or two little tidbits every single week. So this year, we have many people in the world interested in more in their health than they ever have before, and rightly so. So here's the thing, what we found is with this particular pandemic, that those people who have taken better care of their health and who also have adequate levels of vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, and other factors that I talked about on Wednesday's show that I'll get to in just a minute are actually faring much better, meaning like mortality rates are super low. So now people are starting to see that in the media and they're saying, okay, well, maybe there's something to this. Maybe I should start to get into it. And that's really the amazing thing. So we have really committed ourselves inside of IHP, which is the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute, to being able to train anyone who's interested in essentially being the health coach in their home. So it's our mission to put a health coach in every home. And if you are interested in learning more about health and actually becoming certified as a health coach, a certified health coach, I can't recommend enough heading over to the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute, which is simply ihp.coach, or the longer website is integrativehealthpractitioner.org. integrativehealthpractitioner.org. I will link up everything today at stephencabral.com/1813. The reason why I wanted to bring this up is that in as little as 12 weeks, you could become a certified health coach. Do you need to put in the study time? Yeah, absolutely. How much? Well, about a half hour a day. It's not that bad. You can do that upon waking, at lunch, at the end of the day. You can do your work. Now, of course, your study is going to continue. There's no doubt about that. But this is where you want to start at right away to become a level 1. And then you can choose to become level 2 certified as well. Learn about how to read your own at-home health labs and so much more. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. Besides the over 3,000 practitioners from around the world who meet inside of our private groups. We get on a call once a month that you speak with me. We answer questions. It's absolutely amazing. And again, probably half the practitioners are from the health-based field. Maybe they're nurses, maybe they're acupuncturists, maybe they're doctors. We've got some personal trainers. We've got all sorts of great people in there. And half of the people have no health-based experience. They simply want to learn more so they're able to heal their own body and then go on to heal others. And that's really what it's all about. Well, this month, we're giving away the best bonus of the year. And that is anyone that signs up for level 1 and level 2, they're going to get a $600 real world bonus, which is our two best selling, most popular labs out there, which are the Candida metabolic and vitamins test, as well as the metals and mineral test. Those labs are incredible. We call them our starter kit. Tell you all about your digestion, your vitamin levels, your mineral levels, your mitochondrial levels, your detox levels, heavy metals. It's absolutely fantastic. And you get all of that data completely free. Plus, it comes with a 60-minute health coaching call, which is valued at $290. So it's pretty fantastic. That's an amazing bonus for it's 100 people, and that is available while supplies last. And you can just head over to integrativehealthpractitioner.org. Okay. Next up, I want to share with you this promo over at Equalife. Right now, over at Equalife, I'm going to keep this plain and simple. Every single January, we want you to be able to boost your immune system. We know that vitamin D helps with that. We know that vitamin D helps with this current virus. We know that vitamin D works with hundreds of processes inside your body, that it's an absolute game changer. It helps with wellness. It helps with weight loss. It helps with anti-aging. Most people, I can't say everyone, most people need to be taking 35 IUs per pound of body weight. You can estimate. It does not have to be perfect. That means most adults need to be taking 4,000 to 5,000 IUs of vitamin D. That is clinically proven. Like it is. And here's the easiest thing. You can take vitamin D for a month and then have your blood taken. It's that simple. I mean, you can just look at the labs called 25-hydroxy vitamin D and start with wherever you're at. Like I use approximately 4,400 IUs a day. I get 400 in my daily nutritional support shake, and then I take 4 drops a day of this vitamin D that I'm about to tell you about. The liquid vitamin D, it's very simple, not 4 droppers, 4 drops. I give 1 drop to each of my daughters in the morning, and my wife and I will take 4 drops a day. So that allows us to get our vitamin D when we are not maintaining a tan. Because just because the sun's out, just because it might be summer for some people, does not necessarily mean that your vitamin D levels are adequate. If you are not maintaining a tan, most likely your vitamin D levels are not adequate. And all the cofactors for that vitamin D are already in your daily nutritional support, like the vitamin K or the daily activated multi. So we are giving away our vitamin D3, our liquid vitamin D3, which I believe has something like 100 servings in it, completely free. So go over to equi.life right now, equi.life, and any purchase over $99 gets you a free bottle while supplies last. It's absolutely one of our biggest promotions of the year. People love it, and why not? You get free vitamin D, which everybody needs anyway. Okay, podcast that happened over this past week. I hope you didn't miss this week. On Monday, episode 1809, we went over how to know if you're on the right track to achieving your goals. Meaning nature has built in a certain neurochemical into our body that tells us how to get there faster, what to do, what not to do, and if it's a must do and you still really don't want to do it, when to do that during the day. So that's all on Monday, episode 1809. 1810, I didn't think I was ever going to be able to give this to you, but I said, you know what? Let's just go for it. Let's just go for it. And I give you the entire pandemic virus-based protocol. Exactly what I personally do myself, and I even share the text message on the screen of what I send to friends and family. Plus, I give you the medical-based treatments that are now proven and being used in hospitals all around the United States. So you get the best of natural medicine, plus you get the best of conventional medicine. That is a can't-miss show. And please share that with as many people as possible, because you know on social media, they will not allow me to share it. All right, episode 1811 was the 4 types of fasts every human should be doing. That means the weekly, the daily, the weekly, the monthly, quarterly in there, and yearly as well. Don't miss that. I give you the full breakdown, how many hours, how many days, what to use, what to not use, all that is in there. Yesterday's show was special guest Jessica Ortner. If you've never heard about the emotional freedom technique, if you've never heard about the tapping solution, you need to tune into that show. If you're dealing with dysregulated mood, irritability, anxiety, PTSD, low energy, trauma, you want to check out that show. Not only do we talk about the emotional freedom technique and the tapping technique that's been around now for about 40 years, and all the different marma or meridians, acupressure points that it goes along with, but we actually take you through it. So there's nothing even to buy. I mean, it's pretty fantastic. Jessica went above and beyond for that show. So definitely check that out. That was episode 1812. Remember, you can find all of my podcasts, all previous 813 at stephencabral.com/podcast. You don't need to listen to them all in a day. You can take your time, listen to a couple every day, and you are going to get yourself a true integrative health-based education. All right, so that means it is time now to move on with the show, and we're going over our product review of the week. I apologize, I don't have it with me in my office today. I gave them all out, and we drank them all over the holidays, but I wanted feedback from family. You know that I'm not a big consumer of alcohol myself. I'm just not. I found my health is just better without a lot of alcohol in my life, but a couple times a month, I still do have a drink or so, and typically never more than 1, 2 very maximum. I've talked about the research on that, but also just my own health. I just look at my stats. I look at, hey, how did I sleep last night with alcohol? Typically, my HRV is about 10 points less. Typically, my deep sleep doesn't reach an hour and a half like I like it to. Typically, my REM sleep doesn't meet the 2 hours. That's if I do more, right? So anyway, look at that. But I still have some alcohol. There's no doubt about it. But I gave up red wine many, many years ago. And that is because if you know my story, you know I have a bad history with what's called mastocytosis or mast cell activation syndrome. And I had horrible histamine issues, horrible allergies. And my right eye, specifically my right one, would blow up when I would drink red wine. So here's the thing. Gave up red wine many moons ago. We'll put it that way. But I always have wine in my house. Always have wine at my house for entertaining with guests because many people enjoy a glass of red wine. And again, if you don't overdo it, and like I said in the research, then there can actually be some benefit, meaning like if it can calm your central nervous system and you enjoy it with friends and family like they do in the blue zones, it's a totally different story. So I've seen it talked about for quite some time, but again, you know that I'm not a big wine drinker as well, but I'd seen it talked about in the health-based circle. And so I said, why are people talking about dry farm wines? And so I decided to look into them myself personally. Like they didn't come to me and say, hey, can you promote our wines? But I wanted to be able to recommend healthier wines for people that are into wine. And so when I started to look through their website, it was, as they say, a no-brainer in terms of being able to recommend them because not just of the quality of their wines. So they're basically giving you what would be the equivalent to, I think, around a $30 bottle of wine. So, but it's the way that they do it. They're not producing the wines themselves. So I just want to throw that out there. They're actually curating wines, I believe, on a monthly basis. And they're finding wines that are low in sugar, meaning like the lowest in sugar, low in alcohol, lab tested for purity. They are all natural and additive free, and it's also more sustainable. So the dry farms, which I didn't know about, because again, like I'm not in the know on this as much, but they are using essentially water-free versions of growing the grapes, which is absolutely amazing to me. I'll get to that in just one second. But a lot of people on keto, paleo-based diets are using these. They're mold-free wines, mycotoxin-free, which they've been tested for. No irrigation to the crops, so making it far more sustainable with very little water being used, except obviously rain. No industrial additives, lower sulfates, meaning if you have issues with sulfates, lower than 75 parts per million, meaning it's actually tested that way, and biodynamically farmed. It's funny. Can I give you the exact year? I believe it was 2010. 2010, my wife and I was at a conference out in San Francisco. So we had never been to wine country, any of these things, and we decided to go to Sonoma over Napa. So it's wasn't as well known, quieter, and they had some biodynamic wineries there. So we only went to biodynamic, essentially organic-based farms out there. Hardly anybody there because these are some smaller, not as well known. And we got to sample some of those wines. So that was, again, like I'm not a big wine person. I don't know as much, but I got a good education while I was out there. Well, Dry Farm Wines actually looks for biodynamic farms. They're looking for farms that are sustainable, that are done things in the that are actually the grapes are. I was about to say raised, but the grapes are actually farmed in a much more natural way. So this is a wine that you'll want to most likely check out if you are someone that is trying to be healthier, you still enjoy wine, and you don't want all of those additives. I'm going to link up their website today at stevencabral.com/1813. And if they decide to give our community any discounts, sometimes a lot of these companies will say, hey, we're recommending your product. Do you have a coupon code for our people? And oftentimes they do. Sometimes it's like 10% off. Sometimes it's even more. So head on over to stevencabral.com/1813. That's today's show notes for a coupon code if we can get one. All right. Next up is my book review of the week, and that is The Future of Nutrition by T. Colin Campbell. So this is someone obviously that I've known about for a while. T. Colin Campbell, been in many documentaries, obviously a proponent of the vegan-based lifestyle. He wrote the China Study. And I know that the China Study is a controversial book, and I believe that it is as well. But again, not all of it, not all of it should be thrown out. It's just like, well, do they base it more on dairy and those types of things? Yes. But I agree with it. So it's not that I don't agree with it. It's just when you look at a lot of these documentaries and when you look at a lot of these books, it's clearly slanted towards a specific agenda. But the agenda is not a bad one. So even agenda makes it sound like it's a bad thing. It's not. T. Colin Campbell is trying to promote the best health that he can for people. And that's why I read everything, meaning I'm going to read the paleo books. I'm going to read even the carnivore-based things. And here's the thing. Whether you like his work or not is almost irrelevant. You should read the book just to get the knowledge of where it's coming from. So in my book, The Rain Barrel Effect, there's over 300 research citations. I believe he has the same, maybe if not more, in The Future of Nutrition. So it is based on science. And here's one of the most interesting things. This is on page 211. The book's about 250 pages. It's not that bad of a read. It's honestly not. So here's the thing, though. And I'm just going to read you 2 data points. Okay. The breadth of this animal protein effect in various diseases, such as several cancers, heart disease, and osteoporosis, is impressive. I'll get to that in just a second. However, there is no correlation, meaning there's a lot of correlation. So if you're looking at, I talked about the only anti-cancer diet that exists. If you're looking at cardiovascular disease, if you're looking at high blood pressure, if you're looking at type 2 diabetes, and when you look at fruits and vegetables being introduced to the diet, you almost always see a decline in the disease. Okay, so that means if you're dealing with cardiovascular issues, you're dealing with whatever it might be, you typically see a decline the more fruit and vegetables you eat. We can see that. We can prove that. We can say, okay, we've talked about it in olives before. I've talked about it in blueberries. I've talked about it in pumpkin seeds. I've talked about all these different things. Now, so we can see that. When you increase meat in the diet, you do not see a decrease in any of these diseases. That's it. So it's a really good point, meaning that let's say that you're on a carnivore diet and you don't get cancer and you don't get these things. Okay, great. But it's not the same correlation. There's not the specific nutrient that be eat more meat and get this. Now, am I saying not to eat any meat? I'm not. So before I get all sorts of people getting upset at me for that, I'm not actually saying that. And I actually believe that humans are probably a little bit healthier with a little bit of meat or fish in their diet. I really believe that because of what I've seen in 25 years of private practice. Do I think everyone needs to? No, I don't. Especially more of the kapha body type. They have more mass on their body. They can do really well with more of a catabolic diet, which would be more of a plant-based diet. So here's the thing, though, and the graphs are pretty impressive. So if you're watching this on video, you can see just breast cancer mortality, breast cancer incidence, uterine cancer, colon cancer, renal cancer, prostate cancer mortality, coronary heart disease. And so you can just see basically osteoporosis and hip fractures and fractures in animal protein, how it increases as protein consumption goes up. Now, so again, do I believe in the research? I do. So I do. But here's the thing. Okay. It does not mean that you are not equally as healthy if you could have a little bit of protein in there. How much protein? I've talked about this on previous podcasts. One of the podcasts was called Mounting Evidence Against Meat. I believe once you start to get above 10%, for many people, that's when we start to see issues. 20% for sure, whether it's vegan or meat-based, but much more inflammatory. Now, inflammatory is the wrong word there. Much more egregious in terms of incidence when it's animal-based protein. So I wanted to add that in there for you as well. So again, and I'm going to get more into it in the future because I've just really done a lot of research on, okay, closest ancestors to humans. What are their natural diet? And they still eat like 5-10% of their diet from some meat. I look at the blue zones. I look at the longest lived people, the legitimate research. They're still getting about 10% of their protein, 5 to 10% of their protein from animal-based products and fish. So again, I don't think that it precludes you eating any animal-based foods or fish, but certainly, as I've been recommending now for many, many years, a predominantly plant-based diet, you're so little risk. I mean, honestly, there's so little downside and only real upside. All these people talk about all these issues with thyroid and this and that and the other thing. Listen, it's oversimplified and incorrect. If you have gut issues and joint pains because of eating vegetables, you need to rebalance your gut flora. That's really what it's all about. All right, now let's move on to the research for the day. All right, so diving into the research for the day, we are looking at a meta-analysis, a major meta-analysis showing promise for yoga, meditation, and mindfulness in concussion-based therapies. So people that are dealing with traumatic brain injuries or concussion or other head injuries, they want to really be looking at the benefits of yoga, meditation, and mindfulness. I'm going to actually link it up for you, but this was in the Journal of Applied Physiology, Health and Well-Being. And it's specifically called Therapeutic Effects of Meditation, Yoga, and Mindful-Based Interventions for Chronic Symptoms of Mild Traumatic Brain Injury. And they go through a systematic review and meta-analysis. So basically what it looks at, and this is about 539 participants. This is one particular study. And do I think that's a big study? No, but it makes sense. And here's why. Here's why I wanted to bring this to you today, is that let's say you hurt your back, or let's say that you're rehabbing your shoulder, or you're doing a specific type of rest and then repair. Okay. So if you have a ton of inflammation, you're certainly not going to work that area, which would cause more inflammation in terms of physical therapy and rehab right away. But what you're going to do is, after a short period of rest, you're actually going to then do things that would be therapeutic to repair that organ or muscle tissue or joint, tendons, ligaments, etc. It should be the same thing with the brain. We should be using specific sleep protocols. We should be using specific nutritional supplements, and we should be doing therapeutic-based interventions. So being able to meditate and retrain those brain waves and reduce overall stress in the body is looking really promising for traumatic brain injuries, concussions, etc. So if you know anyone dealing with concussions, and I've gotten quite a few questions on this over the years in the Cabral House Call, I would absolutely look into yoga, meditation, and mindfulness. And if I could pick just one for you, it would be meditation. And that would probably be twice a day for 10 to 20 minutes each time. Maybe listen to binaural beats and maybe not. Maybe just complete silence. So take a look into this. I will link it up for you today, again, at stephencabral.com/1813. All right, next up, second research of the day. I have it right here. And this one is on flax and pumpkin seeds may be able to help fight diabetes, which again, there's so many things we can do to regulate blood sugar, but now we're looking at just two specific seeds that in recent studies, let's see, this was published in the Journal of Diabetes and Its Complications, when this is done in a mice-based study, that when given to rats with induced diabetes, and they were fed a mixture of flax and powdered pumpkin seed, their blood chemistry normalized, as did that of rats without diabetes. I mean, that is absolutely impressive. Remember, animal studies always come first. And since rats share essentially the same DNA as humans, that's why they're used for a lot of these studies, plus replication can be done very, very quickly. So here's the thing. I always look at all the research that I do and I say, for example, with the traumatic brain injuries that I just talked about, what's the downside of doing meditation twice a day? Zero, right? I mean, really zero. What's the downside of adding some flax and pumpkin seeds into your smoothie every single morning? Basically zero. Honestly, there's so little downside and so much upside. So whether you have healthy blood sugar or you have blood sugar dysregulation, here's what to do. I talk about this in one of my health results accelerators. I forget which one. But you basically take out your blender first and put in those seeds, whole flax, whole pumpkin if you'd like. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to put those in the blender before anything else. Turn on the blender, and it's going to chop them up. And it basically turns them into a powder. Yes, they'll start to oxidize, but then you get to put them right in your smoothie right away, which is great. And in the daily nutritional support, we already add flaxseed. It's already right in there because we know all the major benefits, from detox to the alpha-lanolenic acid for anti-inflammatory, et cetera, et cetera. So super simple. How much to add? Honestly, you can start with a teaspoon of each, or you can go eventually to a tablespoon of each, and I think that would be absolutely fantastic as well. So there you have it. Again, I'll link it all up today at stephencabral.com/1813. I hope you have an amazing weekend. As always, please do feel free to share the show with anyone you believe it could serve, and don't forget to tune back in for our weekend Cabral House Calls, where we answer our community's questions each and every Saturday and Sunday. Take care. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. And today, as always, at the end of the show, I try to share with you what we have going on for our listeners, for our community, and you won't want to miss this one. Right now, going on over at Equalife, you can get a free bottle, more than a 30-day supply, typically a couple months supply of our liquid vitamin D3. This is a favorite of the community. It is one of the products used in our immunity protocol, and it is something that we try to offer every single January every year for about 4 years running now. And that is because vitamin D helps with your wellness-based goals. It helps with your immunity. It helps with your weight loss goals. It helps with anti-aging. Vitamin D is one of those nutrients that your body needs on a daily basis, and also something that works with over 300 different processes within the body. So it's very important that if you're not maintaining a tan on a weekly basis, that you most likely need to supplement with vitamin D3. The average dosage for adults is about 35 IUs per pound of body weight. Same with children. I use 4 drops per day. So does my wife. That's in addition to the daily nutritional support. And both of my daughters, who are now over 35 pounds, they use 1 drop per day. So it's simple to take. Honestly, it's not a dropper. It's just 1 drop. You can put it under your tongue when you're having a meal or with a smoothie. It's super easy to use. I do mine typically right at breakfast, just 4 drops under my tongue, and I can just have my smoothie with it, and I'm good to go. So right now, it is yours completely free, especially this time of the year. It's absolutely needed. So you can head on over to equa.life, pick up anything that you desire over there, whether it be a lab, daily foundational protocol, whatever you need. Any purchase over $99 gets this free bottle of liquid vitamin D. Same product I've been using in my practice now for about a decade, and it's one that I can't recommend enough. Take care, everyone. Enjoy the special promotion. Head on over to equa.life right now for details.